Hi, I'm Vivian Slagle.
And I'm Troy Jordan.
And this is your Nijianan segment for My Hatred of Billionaires. On today's chopping block, the overhyped rat man himself, Elon Musk. Often called the real-life Iron Man, Elon Musk is well known for his involvements in PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the Boring Company. He is highly regarded as being a real and true nerd, praised by teenage boys for the memes he posts on Twitter. Despite being depicted as a goofy underdog, the reasons to like him are minimal.
Well, I would almost agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not defending. I know some of the things he's done. I actually have a list of many things he's done and said.
Troy did his research.
That are foolish, and I can go over some of them in a little bit, but I think that there's two sides to the coin of Elon Musk, and I think he's defensible in some ways, and in some ways not.
Okay, what would you say something about him that you're like, yeah, that checks my boxes. I would defend him on that.
Well, for one, an important one, is him and his brother set up a private foundation for four kind of main things: renewable energy research, human space exploration, pediatric research, I guess in like poorer countries, engineering and science exploration, and education. And to date, over $300 million has been donated to that cause. So I think that's pretty important.
I would say that's important too. Though I do have to also say that I think the environmental issues that he puts forth with his company outweigh his environmental donations. You know, for example, he launches a rocket almost multiple of them every week, and every single time a rocket launches, it gives out as much emission as a car running for 20 years straight.
Really? I did not know that. Okay, then what about, do you think that all of the electric cars that he's kind of responsible for revolutionizing the electric car industry, especially through Tesla, do you think that it redeems that, or it weighs out?
I have something to say about that too. So the disappointment is that his involvement in Tesla is kind of a lie. They started it without him. He was born a millionaire.
Right.
And so he gave that money to their company and bought himself a position as a founder. So he didn't actually found it, but on the website it says that because he bought that position. Actually, one of the only things he's patented for himself that he actually invented was the Tesla plug, what you plug the car into. And can I tell you why that's also bad?
Go ahead.
Cool. So, as you know, he sets up his own private Tesla gas stations, and the Tesla cord can't plug into any other kind of thing. So not only if you have a Tesla, you have to go to one of those stations, but other electric cars are unable to use his stations. So he makes it so that he's the only one in the industry you can buy from, and it is on purpose.
Well, I mean, to kind of lean into your viewpoint a little bit, I also heard that in producing some of those electric cars, he's using illegal labor in third world countries to mine lithium for car batteries.
Yeah.
So yes, but I still think it's kind of a double-edged sword where you're trying to prevent climate change, but you're using child labor and excluding every other electric car brand. But that's just me.
And mining doesn't tend to be very good for the environment, you know? You were just sitting there and someone was drilling a hole into you with oil and machines. Probably wouldn't make you feel very nice.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
What would you say about, because obviously we know him, he's most popular for SpaceX and the satellites and the Tesla cars. What about PayPal?
PayPal. Here's what I have to say about PayPal. So, PayPal is essentially banking online, right?
Yep. Internationally.
Yeah. What I have to say about PayPal is that I think anyone could have invented it. I think, honestly, his luck of the draw with putting a bank online was just that he got to it first. Like with Google, I don't think anyone could have, invented that, you know? That took, real skill. He used, the internet was already made, you know? He just put a bank online. Right now, I could just put a pet store online. There are things that already exist. He just changed it.
Would you not... True, I would agree with that. Would you not say, well, I would say that he got luck of the draw because he was the first one there. However, he still started it, and it's one of the biggest financial institutions in, across the globe.
Yeah, he for sure still started it, but you can see now that there are like ones people prefer. Like people prefer Venmo, Like really what happened was he was born a millionaire. He had those accesses to those resources. He was friends with a bunch of other sciencey techie kids and was able to do that. Like it's how people talk about Facebook. Facebook was only capable of being made because that guy like went to Harvard. It was a chat group for Harvard students.
And he stole the idea off the twins.
Yes.
At Harvard.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg. But
Zuckerberg.
Do you think that he deserves some credit for intelligence at least, or are you saying because you said that he was around some like already smarter dudes that kind of developed it? Does he deserve any credit for that?
I don't believe that he's not intelligent. I perfectly believe he's intelligent. But what I believe is that he's good at banking and marketing. Like, I believe he's a businessman, not an inventor. He's not like the savior of our world or the new Iron Man. He's much closer to just just a guy that knows how to make money, like Trump. He's born into money. He just already has the resources to continue making money,
So is the problem, in your opinion, is the problem what he's doing, like illegal labor and, possibly kind of leeching off other people's success and all the other crazy antics he gets up to? Is that the problem? Or is the problem that he has an unbelievable amount of money?
I would say both. I think they can both be problems. I think it would be less of an issue if he didn't have an unbelievable amount of money. But because he does, the fact that he has so much vast, unimaginable wealth, richer than God, as some people like to say, and is still exploiting child labor, I think that makes it worse. He actually has the resources to completely fix and eradicate child labor if he really wanted to. I mean, obviously that'd be really hard, but like, the fact that he's choosing to be, a villain rather than like the hero that guy could be, like he has the power to, and he said it, he admitted it in an interview, he says that he has the power to stop global hunger. And he said that he decided not to because he doesn't think any of the plans are good enough. And what he really means is that those plans wouldn't benefit him.
Well, I mean, the UN, I don't think this was that long ago, but the UN basically was like, we could get, if you gave us $6 billion, we could solve world hunger. And Elon Musk said, show me how. And from what I understand, they didn't give him anything. They just said, just give us money and we'll figure it out. I don't doubt that the UN would figure it out, but if I'm Elon Musk, I'm not just handing $6 billion away.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know too much about that situation. Like, I didn't investigate into that.
Oh, fair enough.
It's not something I personally. But I do think, okay, if you were a guy with the power to stop world hunger, would you not yourself try to develop a plan? Like, would you not go out of your way to be like, I'm gonna get with the smartest people I know and like all over the world and try to develop a plan for world hunger and then do it?
I would sure hope so.
Wouldn't you want to be remembered for that even? Like, even if you were a selfish guy, wouldn't that feed your ego?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, even if the UN didn't have a plan and they were just being silly little gooses, I think he should take it upon himself to make a plan. If you have that much money, richer than God, like, act like it then, help people.
So, besides that, we've already talked about some of the bad things that he's up to. What is the problem with having that, like, what's inherently bad about having that much money?
I'd say that having that much money, like, it limits 99% of the people around you, like more than that. You were in the 0.1 percentile, probably like less than that, probably a couple more zeros down. And you possessing that much wealth is causing like an unbelievable amount of families to live in intense poverty and starvation. And I think it would be different maybe if he chose to do something about it, like if he was like, yeah, I can spare my $6 million or whatever. But even that to him, which would be a minor dent in really the amount of money he's going to make over his lifetime, isn't enough for him, you know? Like, it's just greed. And capitalism is all about stepping on the person beneath you to get higher. So it's not just that he's higher and that's, like, hurting other people. It hurts other people on purpose. His companies employ those people in poverty that are in poverty because he owns, like, so much of the wealth. Because the wealth distribution is so massive.
So you would say that, well, would you say that him having so much money, if just to simplify things, him having so much money is just bad because so many other people don't, and you don't need, what's he worth, like $280 billion? He doesn't need $280 billion.
What can you do with $10 billion that you can't do with $200 billion unless you're, like, literally trying to buy a small country?
I have no idea.
Yeah, unless you're, like, I don't know, like, unless you are single-handedly funding a company, even then, I don't think he personally needs that money, you know?
Right.
Like, he doesn't, there's no reason to own that much money. It can't benefit you anymore. At some point, you just get greedy.
I mean, he is giving a lot of it away, like I said.
Okay, but $300 million in the grand scheme of 200.
Well, that's just one foundation. I think he has several others, but I think I understand your point. Like, that's kind of a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't make any sense. But, so because I see a lot today of, like, eat the rich, tax the rich people. Is Elon Musk, like, public enemy number one? Or are you saying across the board, Bezos, Zuckerberg, whoever else?
Well, actually, I think that's funny because I think that for, like, our generation, people call us, like, social media generation and stuff, which is, like, stupid because, I mean, we have, like, other things going on. But I do think that a lot of who we target is based on, like, how well it, like, markets, online. And I do think Elon Musk does so much, like, crazy, ridiculous, like, goofy stuff. He is such a good figure to represent what we hate, Because the things he says are so outlandish, being like, yeah, I could fix it, but do I want to? Like, that's insane, That's what makes him so easy to point at him and be like, this is a public figure that is choosing to hurt you because of money.
He's the problem.
Yeah, he's yeah. He shows what's wrong with people like Zuckerberg.
I mean, I could run through a couple of things that he said.
So, you want to do that?
I mean, yeah, just to show how crazy he is.
Yeah.
So, in an interview, he said, we potentially live in a video game or simulation, which, okay, pal. He said, humanity could be saved through the colonization of Mars, which from what I understand, it's not as outlandish as you would think, but chill out.
Yeah.
He faked a bankruptcy of Tesla for an April Fool's joke, which obviously, like, didn't make investors happy.
Every time he tweets, Tesla's stock would go down.
I believe that. Because he's, like, tweeting about anime or something.
Uh-huh.
The SEC sued him for $20 million for a tweet that said he's considering taking Tesla private for $420, like a stock share.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, funding secured. And so the SEC sued him for $20 million. So when you have a dude that's that rich making dumb mistakes like that, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That makes him public enemy number one.
I just want to, like, imagine a tweet costing you that much money. Can you imagine what the people of Goshen Township, like our town alone, if we distributed $22 million, how much their lives would change?
Yeah.
Like, all of those people would be out of their generational poverty. Even if they, like, messed it all up, we would still be such, like, a rich community.
Yep.
That we'd be able to, like, completely support each other. And for him, that was nothing. That was a tweet.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a lot more places that are even worse off than us.
Mm-hmm.
And even, like, if you took $100,000, which would be literally nothing to somebody like Elon Musk, and distributed however in a community.
He drops $100,000 like we drop a penny.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he could drop $100,000 on the sidewalk and walk away and still probably profit because he makes, whatever money a second.
He profits as he moves. Like, I don't think he could spend enough, like, actively to not give back that in the time that it took him to spend it.
And I think to go into that, he's such a flashy, like, like the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, like, rocket fight where they tried to, like, I mean, Jeff Bezos flew up into space because, I mean, I think that's just kind of shows the world we live in where we have billionaires fighting to go to trip to space, but that's just me.
Yeah. Do you know there was a thing with that where everyone was making it a big joke that they were just going to leave him up there, and people believe that's the reason he decided to take another astronaut with him? Is because he thought, like, legitimately you were just going to send him up?
Probably should have.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean...
Not to...
I mean, Jeff Bezos is also, like, destroying a bridge in, like, I want to say Europe, so his, like, $500 million yacht or something can, like, go through. So he's destroying, like, this historic bridge so his yacht can go through, but...
They just have no sense of the reality they live in.
No, they don't. But I would say overall, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's some things that redeem him, not all the way, not to where it's, like, balanced out, but, you know, you're almost there. I mean, I think he does a lot of good things, but he does a lot of bad things too.
Yeah. I feel like his good things just become so small compared to how much good he could do that it makes it bad. But I know something you really care about is that people are funny, and you want to talk about how incredibly draining his personality is?
Inform me.
Okay.
Because I don't read his tweets.
Well, did you see his SNL skits?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Where there was one where he went to court as Mario, and the whole joke was having an Italian accent.
Yeah, I saw that. I really want to hope that SNL was like, it was like a purpose. They were trying to sandbag him and make him look like an idiot.
Yeah. I do think I kind of blame them, though, for giving him such a platform. That's really going to fuel, like, teenage boys, and not just teenage boys, but they're, like, his most popular demographic of being like, oh, I love that dude, SNL hero. Another thing was, do you know his wife, his ex-wife now, Grimes?
Yep.
Music artist?
Yep.
So she is a genderqueer person that, actually they might use they, them pronouns, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll just go for they for now. When they started dating Elon Musk posted that pronouns were an aesthetic nightmare, as in they were very difficult to integrate into the English language. So that alone is a little silly thing to say, but that combined with him naming his kid the monstrosity that everyone knows his kid is named, do you see the irony in that? He named his kid after a jet.
That's what that is?
He's so obsessed with his own work that he named his kid after machines and money. You pronounce his kid's name X-A12.
I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. What kind of nickname could you give for that?
I mean, doesn't he have other kids too?
Yeah, oh yeah, many. Yeah, I know he's. Yeah. I don't think we're allowed to talk about what his ex-wives say about him on here.
Okay, but well, I mean, a billionaire having a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
The cycle's just gonna continue.
And you never really hear about him.
No.
Yeah. So I don't think he's a good person, nor a good father, nor spends his money in the right way.
Agreed.
Yeah. You hear about his boring hole situation?
I did not, no.
Alright, so boring holes are this idea that he came up with, the Boring Company, where it is a giant underground industrialist space tube that you get in a Tesla, you walk down the escalators, get in a Tesla, takes you where you need to go, all by yourself. So, I don't know about you, but that sounds very much like a subway, is what people have to say about it. Subway with less people, no emergency exits, $20 per ride, just you by yourself, because Teslas are one-seaters. Very expensive to build.
You said, I want to say what was like the amount per mile? It was like 18 million per mile or something?
Yeah, 10 to 15 million per mile. And in Las Vegas, where one of his like experimental ones was, it cost $52 million for a 1.7 mile loop. Once again, what would $52 million do for Goshen Township?
Exactly. I mean, you could just kind of ride the subway and do something else with $52 million. But again, $52 million is still nothing for a guy like Elon Musk. But I don't know. I think that he takes part in a lot of kooky industrial infrastructure policies and things like that. And it's not good, because most of the time they're extremely expensive. They're basically something that already exists, like the subway. And most of the time it's in a country that doesn't need it. Like, to bring up the mining for lithium again, there's like, I want to say he uses like his little Tesla inventions over there and like in the mines and whatever. Stop.
Yeah. No, what they need over there is like balanced economy, the ability to not have to work in a mine. Elon Musk truly, where he benefits is off people staying in poverty. So that's why his desire to help people is so minimal, because everything about what he does is using people that he can't even imagine their lifestyle. He's
True.
Never lived it. People often talk about him as an underdog because he used to live in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elon Musk's father once said, "We had so much money at times we couldn't even close our safe."
And he came from South Africa, right?
I believe so.
So obviously he's not an underdog. He didn't come up poor and start up some new thing.
Mhm.
Like I said, this is just the cycle continuing.
Mhm.
I don't know, what do you think you do about it then? How do you stop it?
Well, I personally really believe in a maximum wage. Like, I believe that, I don't believe that the only alternative to capitalism is communism or socialism. Personally, do you know about the evolution from feudalism to capitalism?
I don't know.
So, feudalism, you're aware of what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. When we gained new ideas, like philosophers like John Locke, when we understood more about humans and gained more morals, we developed it into capitalism. We were like, you know what, we shouldn't. Well, we had to get over the slavery thing. After a while, we were like, yeah, we shouldn't have slaves. People shouldn't live like this. People's lives shouldn't be dependent on one specific person.
Right.
You know, we tried to make it so that people could be self-made. You weren't born into what you were born into. The issue with capitalism is it kind of has resulted that way. I don't think the opposition to capitalism is communism. I think you can evolve capitalism like you evolved feudalism. Like, I think you can go further and improve it.
I think I would agree with that. I think that I'm not going to say I dislike capitalism, but the problem with capitalism is that a certain percentage of people get richer, and then everybody else either stays the same or gets poorer.
Yeah, it's the wealth distribution has increased as our country has grown too, which is why at first capitalism worked. You know, like you could go to gold mines, you know, gold rush,
Yeah.
make $1 million, start your own farm out in Utah, which it wasn't even a state yet. You could get big. Nowadays, the wealth distribution is so intense, and our society has such rigid structures that we live like, I don't know, like fish in a fishbowl. You know, you wake up, you go to school, you kind of just stay in your same class cycle unless your life really takes a crazy turn. You work till you retire, and you work till you die. You know, It shouldn't be like that. I believe that like at this point that we're going to space, we're evolved beyond the need for capitalism. I think it could be improved that we don't need billionaires and we wouldn't have people in poverty.
So how do you improve the quality of life? Like, not like in the sense where it's like I'm poor and my life sucks. Like in the, I do the same thing every day. I'm stuck here at my job for 50 years, and I just work until I die.
I don't think that you make like money and work like as needed as it is. You know, like a lot of time people talk about how robots are able to perform like menial tasks. I don't think there is a reason people should be working in factories. You know, like I think that there should be a maximum wage and like a very high minimum wage, and that we just are like the main focus of our country shouldn't be wars or imperialism or even like minimal like politics, like who's in power. I think the main focus of our country should be getting people out of a situation where they can't even live. Like their life just isn't anything that's like will ever help them or benefit them, and they'll never be able to take care of their family or the people around them.
I would agree with that. I think it needs to be more. The issue needs to be in focus instead of all the other kind of I'm going to use the word petty issues that we kind of get involved with everywhere in our own country and other countries. But I think that to go back to Elon Musk a little bit, he kind of bears some responsibility for what you were just saying, the factories and the kind of sedentary lifestyle of just kind of working till death. He bears some responsibility for that. And I think, but the other side is if you don't give people jobs and you kind of just let robots do all the work and we're just all chilling back, how do you get money to give to people? Like, how do you keep the economy moving? Because what are you doing? Like, robots make the money. I mean, how are you?
Yeah, I think it's unrealistic though to believe that humans at their nature are lazy, materialistic people. What happens is when you live in a system like capitalism and you were bred to like people say all the time, humans are naturally greedy. No, we act that way because that's how our environment is. I think, given the circumstance where you didn't have to choose a menial factory job and you could just choose a job based on your interest, people would want to work. I'm sure not everyone, and I'm sure we would have to find a way to convince us, like, to get those people into something that would benefit, like, their life and other people's lives. But I just genuinely don't believe that all, like, the majority of people, or even like a high percentage, would be like, no, I'm not going to do anything. I think people would want to work. I just think that their jobs would be more enjoyable. They wouldn't feel as like needed to go to work and like prioritize that over their friends and their family and like their love life. And like I think people could like start to live like, I don't know, like people like Elon Musk, where you just do like what makes you happy and try to like pursue the best possible way for your country.
I would completely agree with that. Especially if you look at basically any country that's not rich. They're not run by materialism and GDP. It's usually an ideology, but they basically everywhere but the West, almost, it seems like it's not important to them. They don't need to have like, you know, the nicest couch or something, and they don't have to spend all this money. I think if you want to improve the quality of life in the sense of like not being, I don't know, boring, you don't hand out money. You encourage people, and this is going to sound crazy because people are going to go, well, you need the economy to run. You encourage people to not constantly keep buying.
Because the economy will run, but right now the economy runs for people that are dependent on the economy running. Like Elon Musk, he is the type of person that benefits from that. When they say they want the economy to run, like running big time like that and like lots of consumerism only really works for big companies. Like Walmart is the people that want the economy to be like a continuous churn of like fast-paced buying stuff and like big spending.
And it's basically everyone who is not a millionaire or a billionaire, either or, purchasing everything. It's people in the low to middle class, and they are purchasing and buying everything, but they're also facing all the issues and consequences of, I mean, poverty, essentially, because it's only getting worse.
Just, like, no one should have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
I fully believe in that. And I also believe that our view of that not being a thing that works is very skewed by imperialism. Like, many countries today, Cuba, Brazil, they have more socialist policies, and it works for them. What becomes the issue is when that changes really fast, like when they get a dictator installed from somewhere else. Like right now, there's a communist country that was very successful before, and I'm not like advocating for communism, I'm just saying this way of living was very successful before they stopped giving their oil to us. And
You're
now,
talking about Venezuela.
Yeah, we are currently, like chokeholding them from gathering resources and then pointing to them and saying, this is why communism doesn't work. This is why other systems don't work.
Well, what happened in Venezuela is the dictator basically pulled up and looted, they collectivized the wealth. He looted the country for his own profit, and then America said, we're not going to buy your oil anymore. And then the dollar, the Venezuelan dollar, inflated to some crazy amount. But basically, I mean, you need a wheelbarrow of Venezuelan dollars to get, some bread or something. And maybe that's not a direct consequence of socialism, but I don't think you can throw capitalism under the bus yet. Growth mindset, the power of yet.
I just think that what happens to places that try out something new is their involvement with other countries. Like, I think that's really what stops them from developing any farther. Because I don't think communism is the answer. I don't think socialism is all the way the answer. But I think they could have developed into something more had there not been the influx of outside, like, the involvement of, like, a lot of imperialism. But I was talking about Venezuela for one part, but I think I was talking about another country for something else, because there is a country that we're currently chokeholding resources from.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I would look it up, but that's so vague, I don't think they'd tell me.
Would you not then kind of mix and match, like, certain things, like what's good about capitalism and maybe something that you could pull from some sort of socialistic kind of economy?
I think we can
kind of
have
mix and match?
capitalist with a socialist mentality. Like, I think that we can believe that human comfort and happiness, and also, like, working towards something that matters is more important than just working to live.
This has been your substantiated hatred of billionaires. My name is Troy Jordan.
I'm Vivian Slegel.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Kayla.